Hello and welcome back to my fantasy football channel. Today you're here for some Champions League content, and yes, it is coming up to match day 4. It will be upon us this midweek, and this will be my review of game week 3, match day 3, and my transfers that I'm doing for match day 4, which I've already locked in, my team selection, and just generally how my season is going in the Champions League. I think it's gone all right. So with that being said, hopefully it goes as well as what the Saturday did in FPL for me, and yesterday was a very good day for me. I was going to do a reaction video, but I just thought, no, let's do the Champions League video today, get that out of the way, and we'll do the reaction stuff tomorrow. So yeah, if you are after the FPL stuff, that will be dropping tomorrow. This is your UCL content. Let's get into it. If you haven't already, smash a like on the video, leave us a comment with your Champions League moves, and if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. With that being said, let's go. So how did I get on in match day 3? And let's be honest, it was the lowest scoring of my 3 match days so far. And again, I ended up in that very weird position where I ended up playing with 10 players. Now, I didn't actually realize that Footium was injured, which this is the problem when you aren't across all the games and all the leagues. I just assumed he was going to be fit. And it did say there was a flag on him, but I didn't bother really to check. And I was undone by the fact that the 2 moves I made were obviously O'Reilly and Piaxo in, but O'Reilly didn't play. He didn't show up. And when Calafiori didn't show up, all of a sudden I was in a position where I didn't expect all my defenders not to show up. And I was like, well, I've just got to try and play Footium anyway, because otherwise it's going to be a 0 anyway. And that's exactly what ended up happening. So that's not ideal at all. And I've tried to resurrect the problem this week. But Calafiori, that's the second time in 3 match days he hasn't shown up for the Champions League. And with the fixture being against Slavia Prague this week in match day 4, I think there's a strong chance he doesn't show up again. So that might be a preview to what the moves I've made, one of the 2 moves I've made this week. But I obviously started with the captaincy on Haaland. He only got 1 goal, so then I was like, all right, let's give it to Kane. And he unfortunately only got 1 goal as well. In reality, I should have taken a chance. Like, Dumfries looks really good, and that's probably where the captaincy will end up on this week, after the first day of the match day, because he's got a really nice fixture again, and he's been in great form for Inter in the Champions League. And Nuno Mendes, I mean, I think I've learned a lesson this week. Take a chance on captaincy in the first night of the match day. If it doesn't go well, then go for a safer option in match day, the second part of the match day. I could have got a really good score there, and it would have boosted me up to about 85 points, which would have been better than obviously 76. Obviously, Nuno Mendes, Dumfries doing fantastic stuff. Combining them for 33 points feels very nice. Considering I had the 0 from Footium, yeah, you take some, you win some, you lose some. Piaxo obviously got nice 10 points there. Cagladu was 6, and then Kane and Haaland obviously was 6. But everyone else across the board blanking. Obviously, I took Doku off, O'Reilly off, Calafiori off, and Chevalier off. And other than Footium, they were smart moves to take off. So I can't really complain too much. Doku seems like one of them transfers. I just kind of wish I hadn't gone there, especially now with all Man City's players coming back as well. But look, it wasn't too bad for match day 3, but it was kind of disappointing after having a really good start the first 2 match days. I had a small rank decrease down to 138,676 overall, but the team value got a real shot in the arm this week. So that's quite nice. I don't know if it'll come in handy, but yeah, we'll just have to wait and see, I suppose. So what did the scorelines look like? And there were some unbelievable thrashings this week. 6-1 Barcelona over Olympiacos. The 2 minnows battling out for a 0-0 draw. I mean, yeah, that's surprising. PSV somehow beat Napoli 6-2. That was unexpected. That was very unexpected. Borussia Dortmund, they always love goals. So 4-2 over Copenhagen. Inter 4-0 over Union SG. Man City did the job, 2-0 against Villarreal. Newcastle did well against Benfica, 3-0 at home. Then PSG and Leverkusen, a 9-goal bonanza, 7-2 there for PSG. 4-0 for Arsenal, the only time they've actually looked really good from an attacking sense against Atletico Madrid, which I'll admit was a little bit of a shock result. And then on the Thursday, the Wednesday night fixtures, for me it was Thursday morning. Athletic Club beat Karabag 3-1. Galatasaray beat Godbodo Glimt 3-1. Bayern Munich disposed of Club Brugge pretty easily, 4-0. But unfortunately, and Kane weren't really, other than Kane's one goal, they didn't really do much there. Real Madrid Juventus was probably meant to be the tie of the round, but it was pretty boring, 1-0. Liverpool beat Frankfurt 5-1. Monaco, Tottenham, Spurs, I mean, they don't score many goals, and they didn't score any in that game either, a bit like on the weekend. Chelsea thrashed Ajax 5-1. Atlanta and Slavia Prague 0-0. That was a weird result. And Sporting Lisbon taking care of Marseille 2-1 at home. Those were the results this week. And there were some interesting player of the matches, but I've decided to abolish it because on some of them they didn't have the photo of them, and I didn't want to sit there and give it too much credit because some of these games were just complete thrashings, and I don't know what to think about it. I don't know what to think about it, to be honest. So there were 71 goals in Matchday 3, which was the highest of the season. And that was, again, it was buoyed by the fact that there was just some absolute ridiculous scorelines. Rotation in the Premier League teams was again rife. And alas, my team, I ended up with zero. A player that didn't play was because of this exact thing. Rotation in the Premier League, I think if they've got an easier fixture in the Champions League, especially Arsenal, from what we've seen so far, they will rest their players in the Champions League and they'll play their full strength in the Premier League. So the Premier League is the number one priority this season for Arsenal, and I think we'll see their strongest team there every single week, and it'll be the Champions League where they do rotation, particularly during the group stage. And we've also seen that with Spurs to some extent, Newcastle to some extent as well, Man City and Liverpool. It's probably going to happen there as well. Liverpool played a very different lineup against Frankfurt, and that was interesting as well. And yeah, it can happen. So I think, lesson learned, yes, there might be some really good players in the Premier League teams we want to pick, but they are big rotation risks. So again, we're seeing that in the Premier League with squad rotation. It's happening in the Champions League as well. There were 12 teams with clean sheets, which was the highest of the season by a significant amount. I mean, the next highest was 8. I mean, 12 of the 32 teams kept clean sheets. And yet there was 71 goals, which was the highest so far this season. Some weird stats, some very, very weird stats there. There was, again, some absolute shellackings, as I've talked about already twice in this video. I'm not sure if that's a good look. Like, they expanded the Champions League to 32 teams, and yet a lot of these group stage games are rubbish. Like, how can you sit there and say that, you know, a 7-1 win or a 6-1 win or a 7... Like, it's just... if you're getting beaten by that much, how are you in the Champions League to begin with? Like, why are they in the Champions League to begin with? That's my issue with it. Like, they've created extra games, which means more injuries, which means probably at the end of the day, a lessened product. And yet some of the games you don't even want to watch because it's not good football because you've got a completely under-resourced, under-matched team against a team that's got billionaire backers. Like, I just don't understand it. I don't think they've done a very good thing actually bloating it. And the group stage almost feels like a mission. And I mean, some of these games you just sit there and go, some of these teams could actually play their C team and probably win. Like, that's not a Champions League if that's actually the case. And I don't know what that's saying about the spectacle as a sport as well. Mbappe blanked, which was interesting. But Kane and Haaland only had a goal apiece, which, because a lot of people captained probably both nights, one of those two players or one of those three players, ended up meaning that you scored a lot less points this week. My case, pointing example. As teams get closer to qualifying as well, and look, some teams, Arsenal obviously are just turning out results and sitting at the top of the pile, a bit like they are in the Premier League. There's going to be rotation, and then you're going to have to sit there and think about which players you want in the match day 6, 7, 8s, where clearly they're already going to have qualification sewn up. Why sit there and play your best team? And again, that leads back to the spectacle. You've got 8 games to qualify. It just seems a long and diluted process. I much prefer when it was 6 games. It made a lot more sense. So on to the match day 4 fixtures, and on Tuesday night, for me it's Wednesday morning, so that's why I'm in Australia, so that's what happens. It's Napoli versus Frankfurt, Slavia Prague versus Arsenal, Olympiacos versus PSV, PSG versus Bayern Munich, Liverpool versus Real Madrid, Tottenham versus Copenhagen, Juventus versus Sporting, Bodo Glimt versus Monaco, and Athletic Club versus Union SG. Now, there's some big heavyweight clashes on this night. PSG versus Bayern Munich, Liverpool versus Real Madrid. How many goals are we really going to see there? Then I can see Arsenal fielding out a B-strength team against Slavia Prague and winning the game comfortably. Napoli-Frankfurt could be a really good game to get the match day up and running as well. Then on to the Thursday, I've got Karabakh versus Chelsea, and you would think that's a really good fixture for Chelsea. Pafos versus Villarreal, Marseille versus Atlanta, should be high scoring, I'd imagine, that game. Ajax versus Galatasaray, Club Brugge versus Barcelona, that's definitely a fixture to target. Man City versus Borussia Dortmund, again, a fixture to target, particularly if you've got Haaland, I believe. Benfica versus Leverkusen, Inter versus Kairat Amadi. That's why I'm eyeing up a Dumfries captaincy, because that screams points to me. And then Newcastle versus Athletic Club, which again, I think should be an okay fixture for Newcastle. And we'll see the transfers I'm thinking of this week and how they fit into my lineup. So my transfers for match day 4, and this is them. I'm getting rid of Doku because I just think that he is going to become a very big issue in my team. And I'm going with Anthony Gordon, who arguably has been the player of the Champions League group stage so far in terms of midfielder, in terms of his price, in terms of his output. European teams seem to have not figured out how Anthony Gordon plays compared to Premier League teams who have a much better reading of what Gordon's doing. Ironically, that's why he hasn't returned. He might return tonight. Before this has been recorded before the West Ham and Newcastle game, so he might return tonight, and I'll be like, well, there it is as well. But European teams don't seem to have quite figured him out at the moment. Then we've got Calafiori. I think he gets rested. And I need a playing defender because I still don't know if Hodgson's fit because I don't follow the Spanish league at all. So I bought him Fior, who I think is... Obviously, Gordon costs 0.1 more than Doku, so I had to find that 0.1. So that's why Fior is in for Calafiori, just because of the fact that he costs 0.1 less than Calafiori. So in the end, the transfers equaled the same amount of money, which meant I could do them. And I think it should be good. I think these are good moves. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments if you're eyeing up Newcastle. I just think that Newcastle's run for the next few games looks pretty damn good, which is why I've kind of gone there. And I'm hoping that I've got it right. I don't know if I've got it right, but hopefully a little bit of luck, bit like my FPL moves this week. Hopefully they pay me off with some net transfer games and arguably, hopefully some points. So Matchday 4 final plugs. A lot of the heavyweight clashes in Matchday 4 are happening. So this is actually a good match day. If you want to watch some good football, the Real Madrid-Liverpool game and the PSG-Bayern Munich game should be good games of football. Which should mean that we have slightly less thrashings because those really dominant teams are playing each other. So we shouldn't see quite as many 6-1s, 5-1s, 7 whatevers. It shouldn't be as high scoring a week. It shouldn't be, in theory. Getting rid of players that seem to be rested in the Champions League is probably the correct play. That's why I've moved Calafiori. Nico Riley will be the next one that moves. I just didn't want to take a hit to move him, and I'm hoping that I've got 3 defenders that play this week. That's the only reason why he's not getting the boot, because he will be the next one being shown the door. It's also a week where I think potentially taking hits might pay off, because I look at that Barcelona game, I'm like, oh, it'd be nice to have Rashford or someone like that instead of like Mbappe, for example, who's playing Liverpool, or Kane, who's playing PSG. Are they really going to be scoring goals this week? I'm not sure they are. And maybe it's worth a -4. It's just, they're going to, you get the value of them. So it's not like you're losing money from team value or whatever, but which is nice because unlike FPL, it'd be much harder to get them back. But it just seems like, is it really worth the -4 to do it, to play him? It might be. And it might be a really good gain in terms of getting points. So I'm weighing that up, but at the moment I haven't taken a hit. With the bigger teams playing each other, we're very much likely to see a lot more clean sheets and a lot less goals. I don't think Liverpool versus Real... Actually, I take that back. Liverpool's defense is pretty crap, and I feel like Real Madrid's defense can be got at as well. That game might be high scoring. PSG versus Bayern Munich, 2 really good attacks, but I reckon they blank. I reckon it's going to be a very low scoring game, that one. I could be completely wrong, and they might be high scoring because it's in the group phase and not in the knockouts, and that might be the case, but I'm going to say that it's going to be low scoring. The best strategy is don't sub if you've got not a certain starter on your bench. I've found that out in the last 2 match days. It's killed me. I've played with 10 in both the last 2 match days. Don't make that mistake. If you're not 100% sure that your player is going to play and you're subbing him on, make sure he's definitely going to be playing, because or else you are wearing a big fat 0, and I've done that twice already. Still, some really good fixtures to target. I talked about that. That Barcelona fixture does look like the one to target, and Inter Milan's one as well. You would think, in theory, that should look pretty nice on paper. Let's be honest. So, on to my sponsor for this week's Champions League video. It is the Footium Club, the very first sponsor of the D Units channel, which is very nice, so thank you to them. It is essentially a video game. It's a bit like Football Manager crossed with FIFA Ultimate Team. Now, this is obviously the landing page here. This is currently my team. I've got my very first game on the 4th of November. So literally in 2 days, well, less than 2 days, at 5 p.m. Australian time, South Park, under the managership of the D Unit, will be taking on Dowsbury away. No, they're away. They're coming to my ground, which is really good. So it's really nice. Over here on the left, you can't see it, but you've got your tactics, you've got training, you've got fixtures. So if you click on there, it shows you your fixtures, and you literally play one per day. Every game actually goes live for half an hour, and you can join the game and coach it manually, or you can just let the computer do its thing. Obviously, you can make transfers. There's obviously the leagues button here, which you can go into there. As you can see, I'm in Division 8, League 39. And obviously, you can get promotion. You get rewards for finishing on top. You're playing against real-world people. These are all the players. You can sort of like, these are the 17 players in my club and what they look like. You've then got your academy, which when you open your academy, it does like a FIFA Ultimate Team and it opens the players up. It looks really cool. You've got transfers where you can actually buy players and stuff like this, which is really cool as well to include, to build up your club and your team. And then you can go to the club bit here and you can even check out your stadium. And obviously, I've only got 2,600 seat capacity at the moment. So there's only so many fans that can come in and watch the D Units team rise up the ranks. But Haston Park looks pretty good when it loads. And there we are. So that's my stadium. We've got like the little red down here. That's like the Stratford end, going to be singing and sucking those goals in. And yeah, and then you've obviously got your tactics. You can sit there and pick your team. Just like Football Manager, really. And yeah, you win, and it's pretty cool. So yeah, go and check them out. It's free. You can actually try the game for free as well. There is a link in the video description. So yeah, go and check them out. Thank you very much to Footium Club for sponsoring this week's video. You guys have been fabulous, and hopefully we can continue working together moving forward. But yeah, go and check them out. Great game. Great guys that made it as well. I met them in person on a video call, and they were in the UK. I'm over here. They're both Man United fans. One's actually a Man United fan. One's a Leeds fan, but we'll forgive him for that. But yeah, go and check them out. It's well worth a look. And now onto my team selection for game week, match day 4. I was going to say game week 4. It's match day 4. I always get confused because FPL and UCL use match days compared to game weeks, and that always throws me. So we are starting with Chevalier and Nuno Mendes in a double up there with Bayern Munich coming to home. Not a nice fixture. Again, Hoytson's obviously going away to Liverpool is not a nice fixture. But we do have Dumfries with Calamati. He plays on the second night with Kagladogu. That looks pretty good. Then we've got Yildiz against Sporting. That should be an okay fixture, I hope. Elise and Kane obviously go away to PSG. So you can already see there, that game, I've got 4 players with 2 playing against each other. Doesn't feel good. Now, it could be a goal-scoring bonanza and I just sub Chevalier off and the other 3 all get some sort of returns. And that is probably the best-case scenario. But I just don't know if that's actually going to happen. Obviously, Mbappe goes away to Liverpool as well, which doesn't feel good. Haaland's obviously at home to Borussia Dortmund. And Piaxo's obviously at home to Atlanta. On the bench, we've got Anthony Gordon and Fjord because they'll play on the second night, and I will sub them in based on who does well or who doesn't do well in the opening night. O'Reilly, realistically, is probably going to stay there because I just don't think he's going to play. So I'm just hoping that I've got other players that make sure I don't have to even think about bringing him on. Reality, I'm probably going to be bringing on Rulli again for the second time. And Chevalier's actually underscored him in every match day so far, except the first one where they both scored 6 points each. So I'm pretty excited about what's going to happen. And I'm going to take a bit of risk with the captaincy. I'm actually going to put it on Nuno Mendes on the opening night because I just think that he's looked really good. And he takes up amazing positions for PSG. I think it makes a lot of sense to go there. So I'm quite excited for that. And then the plan is, on the second night, is to actually move it to Dumfries. That is honestly the plan. And I'm hoping that he can go big again. I mean, an 18-pointer as captain will go a long way towards me getting some sort of a green arrow and having a half-decent score. As I said, the fixtures in general for my team this week don't look amazing on paper at all. I only really think I've got 3 players with good fixtures, and that's obviously the Inter boys and the Juventus player and Yildiz. Other than that, I think the rest of the fixtures are very middling, or they're downright not very good fixtures at all. So I'm not expecting a massive score. I just don't know if taking hits is worth it because post the big boys playing each other this week, the fixtures again open massively up. So I don't know if I really want to be moving them out in order to then move them straight back in, if that makes sense. Hopefully it does. And hopefully it gives you a bit of an insight as to how I'm thinking about my Champions League team at the moment, moving into match day 4. So hopefully you've enjoyed that, and hopefully it's given you a little bit of food for thought and it got your minds back to UCL Fantasy. Obviously it is back again for match day 4 this week. We'll be halfway through the match day group stage phase post this match day before the international break. So it is going to be a bit of a slog, and I think it is a bit of a slog based on some of the games and the quality of them. I don't know. Maybe they need to relook at it again and work out whether 32-team comp is actually the way to go, because some of these games are, to be honest, not worthy of being in the Champions League. But that's another story for another day. If you enjoyed that, please smash a like on the video. Thanks to Footium for sponsoring the video today as well. Leave me a comment with your moves that you're making, and if you haven't already, please smash that subscribe button. Good luck in match day 4, and hopefully if you're playing FPL, it's a great Sunday for you guys as well. I'm hoping it is for my team. Let's go. Let's go. Green arrows, green arrows, green arrows. Thanks for watching. I've been the D Unit.